Welcome, welcome. Welcome to the Business Miracles 12 Days of Prosperity series, 12 topics, 12 dates, 12 minutes, all designed to support HSPs in business and leadership to prosper through one of the most challenging times of year, end of year into new year. And yes, it is still the new year. I am Heather Dominick, founder of businessmiracles.com and creator of the Highly Sensitive Leadership Training Program. As an HSP, I've been self-employed since 2003 and mentoring HSPs since 2010. Last session's topic was boundaries. Boundaries open you to healthy, fulfilling relationships with prospects, clients, team members, vendors, spouses, partners, children, parents, siblings, friends. Boundaries set you free from our HSP self-created, overprotective prison. Let's place a hand on heart, and together let's take in a strong, steady breath in, and let it out. Today's topic is community. If you're a visual learner, you will see notes in the chat, and if this overwhelms you, just ignore it. As a fellow HSP, I do really appreciate your willingness to be on video so that I'm not teaching to a blank black void. As HSPs, we often face a unique set of social challenges. Social challenges such as overstimulation. We can become overwhelmed by sensory input, which can lead to fatigue and irritability. Emotional absorption. We tend to absorb the emotions of those around us, which can make social interactions feel even more intense and overwhelming. We also experience sensitivity to criticism. Untrained HSPs are sensitive to feedback and criticism, which can impact the way that we show up in business and work communities, such as networking, trainings, or meetings. Yet, community is one of the 3 pillars of success to the Highly Sensitive Leadership Training Program. So why is that? This is where we remember from our series day 1 session, according to Merriam-Webster, the definition of prosperity. Prosperity is the condition of being successful or thriving economically and overall well-being. Overall well-being. So important for us HSPs in business and leadership. Prosperous with time, with energy, with emotions, with health, with spiritual nourishment, with relationships, and with money. Breath in and let it out. The mind, body, spirit, bank account alignment is extremely essential for us HSPs, especially us HSPs committed to empowerment in business and leadership. And the Business Miracles community is an aligned community of HSPs where you're automatically seen, heard, and understood as an HSP committed to empowerment in business and leadership. So rather than being enabled as an untrained HSP in your shadows, overstimulation, emotional absorption, sensitivity to criticism, in the Business Miracles community, you are championed to be your best essential self as an HSP, rather than this being a community where you are silenced or expected to be the absorber. Business Miracles is a place where you're invited into the safety practice of V and V energy, visibility and vulnerability. So let's experience this in real time today. You were invited during our last Prosperity Series session to review your 12 Days of Prosperity notes and bring any asks, any questions you have to this session. So my mentor invitation is for you to raise your digital hand. If for some reason this is new to you, you can just look right down at the bottom bar of your Zoom screen you'll see some little heart that says react, and there's a place there where you can click to raise your hand. Raise your digital hand, and when I call on you, you will just share a very simple introduction. Yet, because of our HSP tendency to sometimes freeze when the spotlight is on us, no matter how safe that spotlight is, I'm going to invite you to write this very, very simple introduction down. I know it's so simple, but you're going to write it down anyway. You're going to write down your name and where you're zooming in from, and that's your introduction. So raise your digital hand, and he asks questions from this Prosperity Series session so far, and let's dive in when ready. Well, if there's no questions, that means I've been doing a really, really good job. So I'll open it up for thoughts and comments. So any thoughts, comments, or questions from anything experienced in the 12 Days of Prosperity series so far. And just a little reminder, this is a beautiful place to practice V and V energy with safety and with support of an aligned community of HSPs committed to empowerment in business and leadership and whole prosperity as we enter into 2026. And if for some reason you're having difficulty with your digital hand, you can raise your physical hand. I am a traditional classroom teacher at heart. Mandy, thank you for starting us off. Just share your name, where you're zooming in from, and thought, comment, or question regarding this 12 Days of Prosperity series session. And there we go. Yes, please unmute yourself. Thank you so much.
Mandy Russell zooming in from Prince Albert, South Africa. I've got a question, Heather, around the sensitivity to criticism.
Mm-hmm.
I cope much better with this in a professional environment, but in the home, just even a tone of voice can send me off in the wrong direction.
Mm-hmm.
Any recommendations?
What a great ask. And I so appreciate the ask because out of the 12 top HSP shadows that I've identified, 2 of those top shadows are judgment of self and judgment of others. And those tend to be forgotten or ignored in our HSP empowerment process because kind of hard to look at, right? So from there, it makes sense that that sensitivity to criticism is more extreme in personal setting versus professional setting, because those that are closest to us are our very best teachers. And I invite each of you to write that down. One of the tools that we teach in the Highly Sensitive Leadership Training Program, which I know you're familiar with, Mandy, as Mandy is a member of the Business Miracles community, is that self-assessment tool, which I shared as part of this 12 Days of Prosperity series. So what can be very supportive regarding that sensitivity to criticism is to begin to notice first, when you do find yourself triggered by sensitivity to criticism, and then to second, privately take it to self-assessment. Using the self-assessment tool that starts the process of detangling what's actually happening with that sensitivity to criticism trigger. And my recommendation is that you are writing it down, typing it out if you absolutely have to, but thinking it is not enough. And here's why. You want it written down, or again, typed out at the very least, because you want it, the self-assessment, to be trackable. From there, my recommendation is at least 7 times. So 7 times of being in awareness, watching and witnessing yourself, being triggered, experiencing that sensitivity to criticism within personal relationships. And once you've hit 7, to go back and review each of the 7 self-assessments. And particularly that aspect of the self-assessment of, What's it do differently? And then are you able to see any type of shift and progress through those 7 self-assessments? Like, oh, wow, okay, between 1 and 7, I can see that the escalation of the trigger actually did drop. If you see absolutely no change, stay with the self-assessment process for another 7 until you've hit 21. If you did see a significant shift in those first 7, then take that overall assessment. So you do an assessment number 8 of the 7 assessments and determine one primary do differently. And then that's going to become a core practice. And guess what? Core practice is the subject of our next topic in this 12-day series, for 12 Days of Prosperity series. So we'll dive into that more on Wednesday. Mandy, what did you hear there?
I heard that there's a place that I can go to develop a muscle, and that tracking it is really a key part of it. And that's not something that I've done. It would also require me not being in the coping cycle.
Yes. Well, again, just setting this up as a temporary practice for self is going to bring a different level of awareness to that sensitivity to criticism. That alone will begin to start a shift and change. But the commitment to staying with it for 7 times is then what's going to anchor in that awareness into an understanding and then eventually into a changed behavior. So lucky because, again, our next series session is core practice. And wait a minute, the one after that is consistency. So we're going to get a chance to talk about how to stay with those 7 times. Yeah,
Thank
amazing.
you.
Let's place a hand on heart. Let's all take a breath in and let it out. Beautiful. I see hand raised by Ann Sinclair. We are out of time for today. So Ann, I'm going to be following up with you on our Business Miracles Forum. From here, each and every one of you, here are next step actions to be done on your own before our next session. Day 9, action step number 1, take something you heard from today's session and turn it into an action step for yourself. There truly is power in aligned community. Step 2, for those already in the Business Miracles community, post that action on our private forum in your track training master post and tag a fellow member you see here in this session. Just let your eyes intuitively be guided. Write down their name here and now. When you post that action, include which Q of your 4Q intuitive plan this action is meant to fall under. Again, let your intuition guide you. Step 3, for those not yet in the Business Miracles community, now is the time. Fill out the questionnaire and share the best dates, times for us to connect. That link is in the chat for you. There is 1 spot remaining on my calendar. And final action step for all, as we've already discussed, attend our next 12-minute series session happening Wednesday, January 21st at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. It's a good one. Our topic will be core practice. Until then, many blessings and business miracles.